What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Hands-On channel. I'm glad you stopped by. Before we get into talking about the creepy old man from Family Guy, who is also known as Joe Biden, and all the crap that he's brought upon us and to get us involved in World War III, I just wanted to say I appreciate everybody that tunes into the channel and watches all my videos, even when YouTube makes it very difficult for you to find those videos, because shadow banning is a real thing, and they have new tactics. I talked about it a little bit in a post I did a couple of days ago, but basically what's going on, I put up a video, what was it about? I don't even remember now. It was almost a week ago when I made the video, and I put out a video. It was about authenticity, and one of the things we're severely lacking, I believe that was the title, we're severely lacking authenticity in this country. And anyway, I made this video, and YouTube, like within 3 or 4 hours of me posting the video, they basically gave me a strike, told me I couldn't post anything, I couldn't reply to any comment. So when they give you a strike, if you don't know, they lock you out of all your creator functions. So you can't communicate with your audience. You can't. Now I can reply to comments on other videos, but the video that had been removed, the comments were inaccessible. I couldn't even reply to the people that were commenting and stuff. And a couple of people said they were halfway through the video when suddenly YouTube took it down. So they didn't even get to see the whole video. Anyway, then 48 hours goes by. I filed an appeal, and then 48 hours goes by, and then miraculously, YouTube says, oh yeah, you're right. There was nothing that violated our terms of service in here. They gigged me for what they called COVID misinformation, COVID-19 misinformation policy. So anyway, they put the video back up, and no new notifications were sent out. So originally, when you put out a video, if you've got subscribers and they click the bell notification, then anytime you put out a video, it shows up in your feed. It shows, oh, hey, Hands-On channel put out a new video. Well, since they only allowed that to happen for like 3 hours, notifications were very low on that video. And so anyway, I tell you all this to tell you I've been very frustrated, and I haven't really wanted to make any videos lately, because you get backed up into a corner as a creator of feeling a pressure to make content weekly so that your videos stay relevant in the YouTube algorithm, versus trying not to get banned or shadow banned by YouTube's BS policies and stuff. So it's very frustrating, and I haven't wanted to make a video for several days because it's just, again, it's very frustrating. So moving on to the topic at hand. I appreciate all your support. That's what I wanted to say. Guys, if you don't see a notification for a video, I usually put out at least one a week. If you don't see a notification, please go over and check the channel, and you'll probably see a video there that you weren't notified about, because YouTube doesn't want my content out there. I think that speaks volumes to the type of content that I'm putting out. Also, that I'm willing to take the risk. A lot of creators just won't even do that. They'll exclude certain topics because they're afraid to talk about them, but I try to talk about everything. So today, we're going to try not to get banned again, because I'm going to talk about things about the Ukrainian-Russian war that's going on, or as I like to call it, and many other people that have a brain are calling it, World War III. We're in World War III now, thanks to Joe Biden. There was no World War III before Joe Biden. Joe Biden came in, and for whatever reason, for years and years, the Democrats have been talking about going after Russia. Russia, Russia, Russia. All throughout the Trump administration, that's all you heard. And even Hillary came out in one of her campaign stops at one point and said that basically if Russia continued to do even a cyber attack on the United States, that she would declare war against Russia. So anyway, let's get into today's headlines and topics, because a lot of shit has gone down over the last 48 hours, and we need to discuss this, because we're going headfirst over the abyss into World War III, and I predict it will go nuclear eventually. So prepare yourselves, guys. It's going to be a bumpy road here ahead. So anyway, so the first headline here that we're going to talk about, Joe Biden authorized the activation of reserve troops for Operation Atlantic Resolve. So he's activating the military reserves, and that included a couple of different groups, the people that were automatically, in the reserve branches, but also people that are retired, or I can't remember what they called it, like IRR or something like that. They were basically like non-commissioned officers that served 4 years or more, and then they signed up for this additional 4 years of reserve status. So if they get called up, if something big enough happens, they could call these guys up. So this is a huge indication to me that we have a major problem in the United States military branches. I've talked about it a little bit before, but I found this headline very interesting. U.S. military recruiting woes are a national security crisis. And I saw an article like 3 or 4 months ago, I guess, and they were saying every branch of the U.S. military were falling well short of their recruitment goals, and they were having to change the standards. I remember one of them, the Army, had to lower their standards to allow more people in that were overweight and considered obese in the past. Well, now they're allowing them in, and they're allowing them to stay in the ranks that way as well. So not good at all. And you look around at like a lot of, I don't want to say all of, but a lot of the younger generation, and they're certainly not, you don't think of soldiers, you don't think of the same kinds of people that were fighting World War II. So anyway, not a person you want to be beside in the trenches. That's what I'm trying to say. But Biden is going around the world bragging that Putin has already lost the war in Ukraine. So, I mean, that's news to me. It looked like to me the Ukraine counteroffensive, or whatever the hell they called it, was a complete failure. They got blown to pieces. I mean, the Russians have, they've shown an amazing amount of restraint, considering they have a lot more firepower and a lot more stuff like hypersonic missiles and things like that they could have been using all along a lot more heavily than they have. And for whatever reason, they're treating it more like an operation instead of a full frontal warfare event. So anyway, I don't know why that is. I'm not really exactly sure what Putin's play is, but I'm guessing he doesn't want to show his entire hand until it's too late for anyone to react about that. So I'm sure you guys heard, like a few days ago, they were talking about this pretty heavy. Cluster bombs from the U.S. arrived in Ukraine. A Ukrainian general said this today. So they were talking about it a few days ago. Now they're there. Russia has already said that they're not going to allow this. They warned the U.S. about using cluster bombs. For one thing, it's so hypocritical, because not too long ago, Biden was saying that if Russia or anyone else used cluster bombs, it was a violation of whatever, the Geneva Convention, or one of these warfare things that we're not supposed to do, right? And so anyway, it's pretty hypocritical, extremely hypocritical for the White House to do this. But the White House said their decision to send cluster munitions to Ukraine wasn't primarily motivated by whether they're helpful. It was due to shortages. So we have just announced to the rest of the world that we're having shortages because of World War III that's going on right now that most people don't want to admit. No end to war until West abandons plans to maintain dominance, says Russia. And I mean, that means it's never going to end. And, it's the long game, short game thing. Biden is saying that Russia doesn't have the capability to last in a long-term, skirmish, or whatever you want to call this thing. I call it World War III, or certainly the catalyst for World War III. Biden says that Russia doesn't have the staying power for that. Russia, on the other hand, is planning to build prisons in captured areas in Ukraine for, political military soldiers that are on the opposite side, on the Ukrainian side. They're going to put them, what am I trying to say? POWs. They're going to have POW camps and prisons built on terrain they've already captured. So that's an indication that Russia's going to be staying in for the long haul. They're planning on a long fight. And I think part of the deal is that nobody really wants to talk about, and the reason all this stuff is actually going on is not because Biden cares about the Ukrainians or Ukraine's borders. He doesn't even care about our own borders. What Biden cares about is destroying the United States as a superpower. That's what this is all about. I talked about it before. Again, I don't think it was one of my more popular videos, but I talked about how the United States is not going to win World War III. It's already been planned, by people like the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, people like Henry Kissinger and all these other, George Soros, all these people, Bill Gates, all these people that are pulling the strings behind the scenes, that are going to Davos meetings and going to Bilderberg and going to, what's the one out there, Bohemian Grove and all this stuff, right? They're the elitists. They're the ones that are actually controlling Biden and making all this stuff possible, because the end result is one world government, one world currency, no liberty, no freedom, no U.S. Constitution. That's what this is all about. They're trying to bring us down from inside the house, and we're allowing it to happen. We've allowed this guy, who is the best cartoon animation that I can describe him with, is the old pervert grandpa guy from Family Guy. That's Joe Biden. But yet somehow he won. Somehow he got 81 million votes, they say. I say BS. BS. It was all a lie. It was all stolen. Our country has been stolen from us, guys, and they did it so they could achieve this goal right here. Get us more and more and more involved, because look at the remaining superpowers in the world. What do you got? Russia, China, the United States of America. If you can get those three fighting and killing each other, then the globalists can come in and, hoover up all the extra money that's flying out through Raytheon and, Lockheed Martin and all these other weapons contractors. They're getting rich, see, off of our money, our taxpayer money. It's all being done by design. This is all part of the plan to bring in the New World Order. First, they got to bring the United States, Russia, and China, maybe not China, but the United States and Russia have to be brought to their knees. That's what this is about. So, Russia's playing into it as well, although Russia is trying to stay out of the New World Order, it seems. At least that's what Putin is saying. But the West is all on board. Biden and his administration is all on board with this crap. Biden administration admits the U.S. military is running low on munitions to give to Ukraine. Again, we're telling the world that we're running out of ammo and running out of munitions. Report, Ukrainian intelligence coordinated with FBI to censor Americans on social media. Isn't that interesting? If you criticize Zelensky or what's going on, the war in Ukraine, or the munitions that the United States of America, or the, what is it? Is it $1 trillion we've sent them yet? I don't know, 100 billion at least that we've sent over to Zelensky. If you criticize any of that stuff, you get banned on social media. Well, guess what? YouTube is social media. So, Ukraine, that we've turned over the power to one of the most corrupt nations in the world. Unbelievable. Only a communist that's hell-bent on bringing in the New World Order would do something like this. And that's Biden and his entire administration. And the people behind him, like George Soros, Klaus Schwab, Obama. Don't forget Obama, saying that if he could do it, he would run a third term, basically, and pull puppet strings from a basement. And that's what he's doing. That's why he never left D.C., is because he knew this day would come. So Russia says it will treat F-16s in Ukraine as a nuclear threat. I mean, that's kind of a big fucking deal, right? Do you want to get nuked? Do you have a survival plan to survive, nuclear attack? Do you have a nuclear bunker? No, we don't have nuclear bunkers here, or not very many in the United States. Only the super elite will go to the nuclear bunkers. But over in Russia, they have big, huge areas and big, huge public places where they have nuclear bunkers. So they're going to fare a lot better than us if nukes start flying. Russia is now mass producing hypersonic missiles. I mean, I think that's a big fucking deal, don't you? These hypersonic missiles are the equivalent of our small, little boy, big boy, whatever it's called, the bombs we used in Nagasaki and Hiroshima. Those bombs. They're equivalent in yield to those. Now, they don't put off the radiation and stuff like that, and that's a good thing. But the bad thing is they can fucking vaporize us, man. They're mass-producing hypersonic missiles. Do you see anything around you or around your town where the United States is mass-producing anything to fight back against this? No, because we're being led to slaughter. That's what this is. We're being led by our noses to slaughter, and we're following some guy that doesn't even know his ass from a hole in the ground. Not you and me, but the people that are in the military. And I can't blame anybody not wanting to sign up to fight for Joe Biden and his World War III bullshit. I mean, I can't blame anybody for not wanting to sign up right now. I certainly wouldn't. Anyway, you know, Biden says that Putin's beat, basically, and, you know, there's no way they can win Ukraine. But Putin, on the other hand, says Russia won't give up. Who do you believe? So let's read this last one here from Biden's own mouth. Russia can't win in Ukraine and it won't go nuclear, Biden says. So, given Biden's track record on everything that he has said to the American people or to the world press, turning out to be 180-degree opposite of what is actual reality, I think we should just automatically assume the opposite of this. He says Russia can't win the Ukraine war. So I say what he really means is Russia can win the Ukraine war. And he says it won't go nuclear. And I say it will go nuclear. Every single thing, especially on the big issues that Biden has said, whether that be about the thing here that I got banned for here recently, or anything else that he said, the economy, any other thing that he said has been 180-degree opposite for the American people, for the strength of our nation, for the strength of our dollar, for the strength of our borders, our economy, all this stuff that's going on, all these crises that the Democrats have created by Biden taking power. Taking power, yeah. Yeah, so elections have consequences, and not standing up for the Constitution and your own liberty also have equal, more damaging consequences than anything else. So guys, to summarize this video, we're in World War III. It probably will go nuclear, according to Biden's own statements there. Russia's mass-producing hypersonic missiles. That's a big deal. We're using cluster bombs over there. We called out other countries for using cluster bombs. We said that was bad. That's a war crime. And yet here we are doing it. Unbelievable. You and I know we've already been having active duty troops on the ground in Ukraine for who knows how long, running missions over there. And again, why is this? It's to lead the United States of America to slaughter. I refuse to go along quietly into that night. I can't do it. My conscience won't let me do it. So guys, what do you do about all this? Well, the best thing you can do to secure peace is prepare for war. Prepare for war. You know what that means. Get all the accoutrements you're going to need to defend yourself and your family and your preps against the coming collapse that could go nuclear. I mean, if a nuke lands right by your house, I guess just bend over and kiss your ass goodbye and enjoy every moment up until that bright light happens and destroys you and all your family. But otherwise, prepare now like there is no tomorrow, because at some point there won't be. You know, an EMP, it wouldn't even have to be traditional nuclear, ICBMs. An EMP would knock us back to the 1800s. And knocking us back to the 1800s would send over half the population into a panicky frenzy. And they would be attacking and killing. And I believe that author that said, we're 2 weeks away from cannibalism. I believe that. If the right circumstances happened, your neighbors would be eating each other before this thing's all said and done. So, might want to have a bug out location in case it goes nuclear. You might want to have, bug out equipment and gear and vehicles and things like that to get your ass out of a sticky situation, because it could be coming real soon. I hope it doesn't. I pray that it doesn't. But looking at the direction things are going, I think it will go nuclear before it's all said and done. And hopefully it's small scale and, targeted small-scale attacks and not giant ICBMs like the Tsar 2 Bomba or the Satan 2 or whatever they call it. Russia's got bigger nukes than us and more of them. Combine that with what China's already got going on. They've already drawn the line in the sand and say they're going to help Russia, not us. So hang on, guys. It's going to be a bumpy ride. Enjoy every moment that you can, because I swear I feel it in the air. This whole thing will come crashing down before it's all said and done. And who knows, Biden may use the threat of World War III or nuclear attacks or whatever. And oh man, I didn't even talk about it. I got to talk about it a little bit. That nuclear power plant, they're setting the stage for a false flag attack to blame Russia for attacking this thing. So who knows what's going to bring down this house of cards, but when it comes falling, you better be ready, because time is running out to prepare. Anyway, guys, appreciate you tuning in. I always look forward to reading your comments, so let me know what you think about all this stuff. Am I overreacting? Is this not World War III? Is Biden the greatest president we've ever had? I mean, come in there and defend him if you're a Biden supporter, if you voted for him. I mean, you should come in and defend all these actions and tell us why we should be poking our nose around stuff that I don't believe we should be poking our nose around in. I mean, can't even protect our own borders, but yet we're over there protecting Ukraine's borders, or attempting to. It makes no sense unless you're trying to bring in the New World Order, the new one world currency, the CDBC or whatever. Even Russia is working on their own digital currency. So we're fucking screwed, guys. I don't think many people realize how bad it is, but it's way worse than I'm even letting on here. I appreciate you tuning in. As always, I stand for liberty to the bitter end. I hope you do too.